An agenda thing. Threw them all down there.
Them all down there.
Yeah.
Had your computer up like you were all in tune. You weren't using paper anymore.
You know what I like about you?
21st century. 21st century.
It's a-
Hey, champ, man. Let's go.
It's a gentle way, I say.
Okay, good.
Sit back here.
Good. I don't want to say anything in front of Matt that he's gonna print.
Man, he's gonna
Plus you're online.
All right, here we go.
I don't care
You
about that.
control this meeting.
Welcome, everybody. It is 4:33, and we will call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Tioga County IDA. Do the roll call there. Here, Brenda Van.
Here.
Marty Sevenback.
Here.
Tracy.
Yep.
Aaron Cole.
Here.
Kevin Joe.
Here.
Full house.
Full house. Good deal. Wonderful. Two guests, Casey, and Freeze is here, and then online we've got Megan, how are ya? Bob Farrell and Cameron Davis.
Cameron, how are you, Cameron?
I saw you, Eric. How you doing?
Good.
I'm here with Owego.
Okay.
So
He's an attorney for our trust.
Okay, good, you're good. Well, that is first item on the agenda, actually, so we will start privilege of the floor is group from Owego Appalachian School District.
Corey's now too.
It's Corey, okay, and Corey just jumped on, so good timing, good timing.
Nice glamorous shot, Corey.
You like that?
I do. Very nice.
I figured you like that, Nosy.
All right. You guys are up.
So I don't know who's is Bob. I'm not sure if Bob's on or not. I just
Bob's there.
yes.
Bob
Okay.
Cameron.
So we really just wanted to follow up and see, I guess, what prompted the decision, if you had a requirement to report, or anything along those lines. I know that we were a little taken a little off guard, I guess, with that decision, I guess, was already made.
So last meeting, we failed, what we did is we basically did not take up a resolution that was drafted to extend that pilot further.
Okay.
Which is all based upon discussion that we've had over time. It's an awkward position for the IDA in that this pilot agreement was initially intended to expire in 2019.
Yeah.
We did Band-Aid it for 5 years. And at this point, the whole idea behind the incentive package really isn't there at this point. The reason for extending the pilot 5 years ago really was on behalf of the school district. We were hopeful that Albany would fix the number situation, which it
Sure.
wasn't. Got all the way to the governor's desk to happen. So our position at this point is puts us in an awkward spot to extend a pilot when there's really no further incentive out there for the pilot recipient.
That's a spot, right? Like we're in the school districts, that they have us between a rock and a hard place, but to put the place on the tax rolls is really kind of our conversations is where it's supposed to go. You know, once it's up, and then if there's not future, you know what I mean, more building or more incentive for the county to grow. And it's really not. Now, at this point, we're just trying to fix the governor's problem of, well, which becomes our problem, right? Of our tax cap issue.
Yeah. No, I totally get where you're coming from. I just we're just I guess the uniqueness of it being, 18.3 or 19%, whatever it's going to end up being. I guess from the standpoint of the board and myself and Bob is just, if it fails twice, I mean, we're gonna lay off 50 to 65 employees, and that's gonna have an impact on the community, the direct impact on the community, because we're gonna have to make up $3.1 million. So that just lingers out there, I guess, and I get the position you guys are in too. I totally understand that this has been going on for a long time. But I guess at some point the rubber's gonna meet the road and what really happens here.
On top of that, we also had discussions, with the group that is involved there. It's changed hands now. They don't even know what's going on with this whole thing. And having conversation with them is like almost impossible. They
Yeah.
seem to have a clue what we're even talking about.
Right.
So that did not help the matter at all. Which helped us make our decision that, well, all right, we've chased this long enough. We gotta wash our hands of it. Sorry about that. I'm in the school district. I understand the situation, but.
Yep.
1
Can I
year.
ask-
Yeah.
You had indicated that the resolution was prepared and it was not taken up. Am I interpreting, there's no consideration for, like, you've made the decision, I guess I just want to clarify that.
Yes.
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Unanimous.
Because that will obviously, Bob and Corey, it's going to take some public relations work to explain what that does, to your levy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can relate to that. As I was telling Corey, we had one drop off 10 days before. I think I might have called you about that, Cameron. 10 days before our vote, CVS dropped off. So that was nice reprinting everything and going to 10.4 instead of 3.9. It was a fun 2-week period.
Is there some, we've talked about this, it's kind of smoke and mirrors, right? You have to present one way, but in the end, it really doesn't matter a whole lot to the money that's coming into the district.
Right.
As long as it passes. What Corey's saying is it's still gonna have to pass, and he's gonna have to pass it by 60.
Yeah.
Right. And the reality is to getting people to believe you that it's not really
Right.
19. Because that nobody pays attention to the fine print in dealing with these situations.
Well, I would put that in the first paragraph. New York State has failed to act, and due to no fault of your own, we're gonna do a little smoke and mirrors here, but really it doesn't change our outcome a whole lot. Is there anything that's stated in the law that you can't advertise it for what it is to the public?
I don't know about from the advertising standpoint in terms of like
Or
newsletter.
presentation, I should say, maybe not advertising, but presentation.
They get their when they get their notice in the mail, their postcard in the mail, it's going to say 19.3% or 19.2%, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the average person that's going to come out and vote that, because we get so many people that show up at our budget hearings, like zero. We run against the just the challenges of what's true and what isn't true.
I'm sure they'll show up if they hear that the percentage appears to be higher.
Oh,
And
yeah.
They'll have an opportunity.
Yeah, it's a lot of PR work essentially, and you just don't know if it's going to be effective or not.
Right.
Well, you just gotta get your handsome face out there and make it happen, buddy.
It's like running for office. You've got to get out.
Don't let Bob go.
Or send Bob out there and, just don't put yourself in that situation.
How do you think this is gonna go? And that's exactly why I'm shaking my head.
You feel great now.
That's from working for Corey. He was back here when Corey started.
The only other thing, looking at this from the IDA standpoint, the board member in the IDA is, when does it end?
Right.
5 more years from now, we sit down, we do it again. And, I was thinking about it earlier is we keep taking the pressure off. One of the few tools that really make things happen in this world is you folks complaining to the folks in Albany that something needs to change.
Yeah.
So we're taking our biggest lobbying arm, which is you guys.
Yep.
And all these school districts, and we're saying it's okay, we're gonna keep kicking the can down the road. And by the way, I'll give a call to Albany because everybody wants to talk to me. And I'll lobby for this. It seems to me like we're not just kicking the can down the road on the one issue, we're kicking it down the road on all the issues in all the school districts at some point.
I just can't make sense of the fact that it's been on the governor's desk twice now and been vetoed both times. I can't understand what's the huge political gain here by vetoing something along these lines that they created 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I can't believe there's not a line on the thing you send out, your postcard that says, oh, by the way, this happened. It makes it look like this, but really it turns into this.
Yeah,
And you could bold print the one and it turns into this. I mean, you know what it is. Everybody goes to the bottom line.
right.
Nobody reads the fine print. They only read the number that they think is gonna affect them. And some of them don't read that. They just talk about it as if they did. But I don't know what the answer is unless we at some point say, hey, we gotta get off.
Yeah. And I know the significance of being on
The article came on a Saturday.
disagree with you that it's just I don't see it changing in terms of the state and what support would come. It's been lobbied for several years now, and again vetoed twice.
Well, what you're gonna see happen, Corey, is less pilots coming from the IDAs because they realize how they're tying it up. I mean, we've been much more prescriptive with allowing pilots on, right? Just because of that reason, we realize, and that's why, in the governor's thing, they said they wanted to have a board member or a superintendent setting on, because they realize the impact of these things. When you throw on these huge numbers, at some point it goes off, and that 1 year that it goes off, it causes a tremendous angst, because you gotta get that 60%. And that's almost all of us across the state every time we hit the big one. Little ones don't bother you, but you get ours was 48 million.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow, we went from 3.9 to 10.4 in the last 5 minutes. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
So what happens when those pilots go on? Aren't you getting a reduction?
The money goes in and it's on its prescripted schedule, right? So it doesn't count against you. It's not part of the tax levy. It's a separate revenue stream. But it doesn't help you as far as your levy going up either. Because like when this comes up, if you survive it at your 60%, your levy's gonna bounce.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the good part. Like, that's what I said to my CFO. I'm like, well, the good part is our levy bounced big. So when we do 2% next year, 2% is a hell of a lot more than it was, last year for us. So that's.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to see those numbers. I'm not sure there's a significant change. I think at the end of the day, it'll help the people on the rolls. I don't think it's really going to help the school district a whole lot.
Well, that's another piece. So it does share that levy with more people when it goes in. Absolutely.
Yeah, which is why the focus on the rolls, it will ultimately, it's the hidden piece out there is that these pilots don't necessarily help the everyday taxpayer in the big scheme of things. But when they come back on the rolls, they certainly will.
We have talked about changing the way the pilots end, as opposed to dropping them on the tax rolls or changing the pilot, the end.
We've done some research on it, taking it backwards so that it starts to actually come off, especially not so much with a pilot like the one you're dealing with, but with these big solar projects, right? Because they depreciate at a much faster rate. So it would make sense that you start high and work your way low. So when they've depreciated themselves out, but you've talked about it, but nobody's really got that. In theory, it works.
But we haven't had any solar.
Because we keep shut down the pilots.
We let the town.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking time to answer questions and just bring us up to speed. I don't know if Cameron or if Bob, if you guys have anything further.
No, I mean, I think I was curious where it stood. We'll have to work, Corey on where to go as far as budget for that year. I've seen it work. I've seen good pre-arg campaigns that established what, and the taxpayers understood it, but you never know. So we'll have to work on it.
Okay. All right. Bob, you good?
Well, no, but okay.
So it's fun to bring him back to a Zoom. We're going to see if his hair's white.
It's gotta be completely white by next May. I can just feel it.
All you have to do is retire, dude.
That it? That's all it takes?
Walk away, buddy.
All right. Another 6 or 7 years before that, Tracy. So,
Thanks, guys.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You need any clarification on that?
I hear your question.
You've lived this once already, so you know
This
exactly what
one
it's
is,
going to.
Woolley.
Yeah, and I think
Most
what
of your
we'll do
pilots
is
start from
the, something that was morning time also kind of favor.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, you're starting out with zero, so I don't.
Yesterday, so we'll just coordinate, so whatever I run in the morning times, they'll just run it in Penny Saver.
Yeah.
And they'll probably run it periodically.
Yeah.
And up to that time.
So that's, his paper also owns Penny Saver.
Yeah, every.
So that'll be great if we can help them, you know what I mean? And I have no problem if you want, probably one of the, if you want anybody to speak to it, that's fine.
Standard pilot starts at zero.
You're the guy.
And then it'll work. I mean, I can speak to it from an idea. I've asked these guys for permission to, but.
That little bit,
If
that little
so,
bit.
give them an idea, perspective on giving them stuff.
Yeah.
And that's in theory what would make sense.
But we just can't.
Deviated pilot is to then
Yeah.
do it in reverse at the end, but
Your shirt's the right color, so when I paint
Nobody
it
charged that
on your
way.
back, it's gonna show up nicely.
Well, it's the right thing to do. It's a hard thing to
It
do, but
is,
it's the right thing to do.
You
I mean,
can't keep
because,
doing it.
well, and here's the other piece of it, right? Like, when they go on, it takes some of the burden off the local taxpayers who have been shouldering the burden for 15 years while the pilot was on. Right? So that's the other piece. There's supposed to be a benefit for a pilot for the taxpayers. And that's a reality. So, I mean, that's real. When that 500,000 of mine came on, that's gonna drop, you know what I mean? Some of the amount that's being paid into the level.
Well, he said they're gonna fire 50 or 60 people. That kind of.
But the thing of it is,
Taxes will go
if
down.
if they do this right, if they put all the energy in this project, to talk to the people and not worry about other things.
Well, that's the problem, like you can't control, right? Like if you have a bad incident happen during softball season. And all of a sudden that covers that your budget was gonna struggle, no matter if it was at 20% or 3%, right? If people don't vote on the number as much as they vote on what's going on. So that's something, but those guys are a good team, they'll be all right, and said it's good that Matt, his paper handled, they had to deal with us when we were going through, and we had 10 days. So, we had the text, stuff's printed, it was mailed, it was being mailed that day when we got notification from the Chemung County IDA that they were pulling the pilot a year early. Not even at completion.
Oh, how was your blood pressure that day?
Was good, wasn't Matt? Matt came in to do a budget talk and I got that conversation about 45 minutes before he walked through the door. And I said, well, our discussion has changed. 3.9 is now 10.4. And you see those boxes of things over there that we're getting ready to be mailed out? They're all going in a shredder so we can pay another $5,000 to reprint them. So
But the world did not end.
did not. We got our word out, we busted our humps and we got 73%. So it was all right. Your taxes were 3.9, which was the highest. It's the highest we've been in the 8 years I've been there. We had 20% increase in healthcare. We're trying to just sneak an extra 100,000 in there, you know. Sneak an extra 100 in there just to try to, you know what I mean, to try to get closer. We were 1.2 million short of healthcare. Oh,
because you're gonna have to get 60% either way.
either way. That's what my board said. They're like, you gotta get 60%, anyway, go 3.9. Because I said we'll go with 1.9, because I mean, it's not that much. We raised $70,000 on a percentage. So it's not like you know what I mean? I can't pay for teacher on 1% tax increase. So that's the problem we should be working on is taxation, property tax versus sales tax. Like, you know what I mean? How are we funding these schools? What's going on? Because it's not even the salaries, it's the healthcare. I mean, it's 42,000 for a family plan. Yeah, he's close. I mean, he's right there with me.
Budget's almost $60 million.
I'm
And I sit there and
44.
go, what in the hell do we need to spend $60 million to graduate
Big
140 kids? What in the hell?
Well, a lot of it's building projects.
It's just pissing me
And that's-
off every year.
Your cap project stuff is totally different because your reimbursement rate, right? Like a lot of my budget is all that huge freaking gym project and those turf projects, but it's reimbursed the next year's revenue at 97%. So it's funny money. And like, I mean, if you try to, like I tell him, you know, being a banker and being a school superintendent, everybody thinks you're gonna be working with the same kind of numbers. There ain't no sense to the school numbers. You gotta do it a long time to figure it out.
You're gonna tell me that there's no local share, right?
There is a local share. Mine's 17%.
So it's local share.
Yeah.
Cause where do you think?
$8.8 million
Came from out of my pocket, all of it. Every last day. Every time somebody comes to one of our meetings and say there's no.
What are we doing next? What are we doing next?
Gives me all kinds of work done.
Okay,
We
moving
good?
on.
Hey, moving on.
Good?
We have to get out of here by 5:30. You have a hot.
Let's get to approving the minutes.
Approving minutes.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Denied.
So moved.
Denied.
That's the motion to the attorney. Motion to approve the minute.
All right,
Second.
There you go. On favor?
any opposed? So, finance. We have migrated to QuickBooks Online.
Yeah, that
and-
was a little
and
different.
For the folks that have been involved, thank you, because it's not been, I mean, anytime you go through change like this, it's not always easy.
But it's easier to understand.
We're getting there, we're getting there, so. Casey, the checkbox is non-zero accounts. It is active and then non-zero.
Yeah, I clicked non-zero and it still
Oh,
shows
really? See, it
zero.
worked for me. Those are the reports I sent yesterday. It worked for me, because you had to click it in multiple spots.
Okay, maybe I need to find another
Multiple
spot. I clicked
spots,
one of them. I know I clicked it.
But we are definitely making progress, for
Cool.
sure.
Good work, Casey.
Yeah, she's put a lot of time into this thing. It's,
Been interesting.
Some of the zeros are highlighted and some of them aren't.
I didn't choose that. I don't know.
That's the third total.
yeah, I don't know. I printed out, and I should have sent them to everybody. I sent them to Brenda and Jan. Jan hasn't had access, but I think give it another month and I think we'll be completely normalized here. In regards to transactions, there wasn't a ton in June. The May report looked a little funky because of the transition, but I concentrated mostly on June. We paid our quarterly installment to the county for admin. That was one of our bigger items. RJ Foreman's still doing well. $20,000 came in. I can't recall exactly which month that was. I'm rolling the rears a little bit, so.
Whole bunch of financial pages, isn't there?
There is, that's why
There's May in there too.
yeah, May might be, yeah, so I mean, I focused more on June.
Yeah.
Because May, we actually didn't move on May's last year, because it was like a day or two after
Mhm.
transition, we weren't ready to do that.
So I put it in there so you guys could approve it without.
And there is I think there's only a couple minor things that are kind of in limbo. We're still waiting on a couple checks for reimbursement on some pilot payments that accidentally went out for too much. But I think we're down to like $3,200 there, so.
I think it's 56 now. I think we just got to check.
Did you get the Nichols one?
Yep. So
Okay.
it's like $56.
$50, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like nothing, that's,
So we
yeah,
should
'cause-
be okay.
okay, so if you got that one, it's next to nothing. Our loans are in good shape. Anybody got questions on anything in these counties?
We owe somebody a penny.
There could be,
There's a penny discrepancy that has always kind of been there. We don't know what the penny is from.
need a penny,
I
need a
talked to
penny,
Jan about the penny. She didn't know.
we'll get you a
about the
penny.
I don't know.
CFO.
I was saying,
Make a journal entry and make it go away.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an accountant, so.
I'm guilty of diving into minutia at times, but I'm not
This
gonna
would,
call
this
it.
would be my wife spending days to find that penny. She would,
To find the penny, she has, yeah, she wants to come.
no,
My
she-
office.
I don't want her involved, because I'll have to hear it.
Alright, how about a motion to acknowledge our financial state?
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So, okay. New business, full items here, so facade loan, if folks had a chance to take a look at
It's
that.
on there's two of them floating around,
Okay.
because you guys saw the changes already at the last meeting, so it's the same. The only
We
thing,
had a loan committee meeting in between last month and now to go through these things.
yeah, and there was two things changed.
You know,
One
right.
word was
You
spelled wrong.
can't bring them up on the screen, but
Yeah.
otherwise I'm gonna trip through what we're doing here.
One word was spelled, we changed it, and then we added a sentence.
That sounds like a penny.
Yeah,
Good on that.
give me one second.
They took something out, didn't we delete something?
There's a
They were
handful of
US
things that are changing.
You were born in the United States was removed.
Yeah, we took out that. Okay. That was the other here.
And then a song, Born in the USA.
We're extending.
Sorry.
term.
It comes into my mind.
We can just bring it up and we'll just spin through it real quick, so everybody's got a flavor for what we're doing. Because in regards to people on loan committee, Eric, you were on that meeting.
I was there.
So Eric was there, Brenda was there, I was there. I think pretty much everybody was.
Yeah, it's pretty, we just spent a couple of times.
Yeah, it all makes sense. This should make it more palatable, but, you didn't give me the marked up version. I got it.
Oh, you want the-
No, you're fine. Just, it's fine. So we're increasing,
Here.
we're increasing dollar amounts. That's not first, please. I'm bitching doing it because I'll get it wrong. So we're doubling the loan amount potential from 20 to 40. We're you're good. We're increasing the rate from 0 to 1, so at least there's a little bit of yep. Increase in term from 6 to 10.
Let me scroll.
Keep on it going, yeah. So we're gonna expand the territory this can be used in to the entire county instead of nitpicking just main streets. Still gotta be a commercial building, which we've put some definition behind.
That makes sense, yeah.
Keep going. And one of the bigger pieces that we're gonna do is we're gonna give folks the potential to work through this as though it's a traditional construction loan. Historically, these have been done on a reimbursement basis, which causes us to lose people if they don't have the ability to front the entire project.
20 grand is easy.
Yeah, at 40, it's gonna
40.
get tougher.
We put them on a draw schedule.
So yeah, all that stuff, it's a little bit more of an admin burden, but again, we'll get a little interest. I mean, this is not outside the scope of what Casey and her team would have done over the time for DRI projects, so I mean, they've got the background to do this. That's where a lot of these requirements have come in.
This is what we added in low.
Yep. Yeah, we just don't. Yeah.
So the
Yeah, no-
inspection.
no-
of
no
the
construction.
Project progression. so-
Right, yeah, no contractors just get put on payroll, because that's a lot of times where you start with a draw schedule, so. That cover most of them?
Yep, and then this is the part they could see. It's just,
Yeah.
and then.
All the I dot, and, oh yeah, we bumped up our application fee and just specified that no free lunch, because in a lot of cases, we're fine, I think in most cases, we're filing a mortgage against these properties, so they're on the hook for covering our third-party fees, food and Mr. Mayor.
You're behind whoever else was on that property.
Normally speak, normally, yeah.
And then we just removed one section where you were, so,
Okay, all right. Yeah.
so that's empty now, it's just like that, it's not
Yeah,
highlighted, though.
it's extensive, it's good.
No, it's, I think this is, one of those things that we've unfortunately just not been able to get to based on everything else going on, so I appreciate Casey and Megan and Britt taking the time to throw that together. I think it all makes sense, so. If there's any other questions, let me know. If not, I'd look for a motion to approve the facade loan
Make
application.
the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, Tracy, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both. Very. I'm kind of like a broken record on this ICS account. We stopped using the ICS account when we were hemorrhaging money on Oviedo Gardens 2. It's a goofy account in regards to the way the banking system works. It's an insured cash sweep. It's not a traditional banking account. When we sweep money to ICS, yes, you would lose the ability to see it on our traditional online banking system. You should have to log in and look at it elsewhere. But instead of earning 0, we could at least earn 1.25, probably bump our interest earnings by $7,000 a year. What we need to do, if folks are open to doing that, is we need to delineate who's able to do that. Historically, it's always been Christine. It's a little different now because the only signers we have on accounts are board members. So if folks were interested in getting back to using the ICS account, just so you know, Casey, what we do is we would sweep most of the money in our checking account from month to month into that ICS. So it's at least earning some interest. And again, you just have to look at a different spot to access balances. But if folks were open to that, I guess my thought would be is we could put all of the signers on the checking account onto the ICS account, or we could just nitpick Brenda as treasurer, myself, if folks are comfortable with that. Just throw a couple in there. I think we need at least 2 or 3.
It's not something that you're gonna access daily,
No,
so.
once a month probably.
And you put you can put a limit on the cash balance in the checking account, sweep everything up to it, correct?
Yeah, it's not automated like a true sweep account is. This is more manual.
So we would put our own number on it and say, leave this in the checking account, just to avoid issues of making one-time checks. Yeah, but I agree, I mean, what? I'm gonna have. Don't get 4.5 points in the real money world.
You could feasibly, the only challenge if you do that, and you could do that, you could lock this money up more in like a CD, but again, it's locked up. So if you needed to access it, you'd be paying penalties depending on how long you lock it up. Money market is another option, but you'd have to go out for bid on a money market. You're not gonna just get the advertised rate. That's another option that you could do though.
Can you just ladder a bunch of CDs or? You know,
As long as, again, as long as folks didn't think we're gonna need that money. We do have a decent amount of money in CDs. If you look at financials, that's another item I got on here. So I mean, again, we are making more horsepower and interest than we have in years just because of rate environment and staying on top of it. It's a pain because of the inverted yield curve, so we're doing these damn things constantly, but.
it is okay.
But we're keeping track of it though.
Yeah, no, it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that. Any interest, no interest and,
That's what I think.
So what do you think? You want, I don't have an issue going on there. People are okay with that. Brenda, you're all right.
If you want me, I'll go on it, nothing else.
You're on the signers, but at least, yeah, okay, so Brenda, Eric and I,
That works for me.
okay,
As
so.
As long as it ain't me. It can't be me anyway.
Motion, then that we'd be looking for is to reactivate our ICS account with TSB. And putting myself, Brenda and Eric on there as authorized parties for transfers.
So
Second.
All right. Eric, Marty, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and I am abstaining from that. Facade loan checking accounts, similar topic here. We talked about it last month, but because we only had 4 folks and I again need to abstain from this one. Just for the folks that weren't here, we're trying to get our loan. Thank you. We're trying to get our loan portfolio transferred as much as possible into automatic payments. We attempted to set our new facade loan that we booked here recently on automatic payment. That accounts a community bank, and they told us to do that. We had to pay 45,000.
Right, that's right.
So the discussion is to, if folks are comfortable, if somebody wants to make a motion to transfer that account, TSB, where most of our other accounts are,
make
where
that
there's
motion.
no fee to do that.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and again, I abstain from that.
We can go through that RFP.
Authorized signers, we just got paperwork coming across that we had to change signers again because Mary was some accounts, so that'll get. I think we're set now, Casey, with everything except Shamong, I think, but again, down there.
Mm-hmm.
It should do
But that one we don't really use, so it's not crazy.
No. No, I think actually after we do this, we only have like a loan. What's there? We've got.
We have a
CDs.
reserve and a
Reserve
CD.
is the reserve account, it's the reserve account.
Oh, it should, yeah, right, that's what you're talking about, the right, it should, yeah. Reserve and CD. So we can probably do that with Marty.
Yeah, that's fine. I gotta chase down paperwork there, so I'll work on that between now and next month. Southern Tier Network easement compensation. So we passed a resolution last month to enter into an easement agreement with Southern Tier Network for 9 railroad crossings for work they're doing. But what we failed to, consider at last month's meeting is how much we're going to get paid for that. Brett did some background work in regards to active easement agreements we have in place already with Southern Tier Network. And so came to an average of 255 a crossing, which we multiplied by 9. If I did that right in my head, or if I gave you
It's
the.
on the, resolution.
Okay. So we got a new resolution,
This says in the,
2,295 in total annually. Start July 1st, and it sounds like these folks are chopping to get access, so. Look for a motion to
Accept that
accept the resolution 255 or crossing 2295 annually.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
then I gave you this signed, they signed it, so
Okay.
you'll get that notarized.
Anybody notary here at the table? That probably doesn't work. Board members, you're up. Get this, I'll get it.
Yeah, take your time.
You may know somebody that notarizes stuff.
I do. Yeah.
Older shot than me.
Item F, I think it's an easy one, Economic Development Council training, they're putting on some IDA related training in Ithaca. Sweet, when is that case?
I printed it, it's somewhere near, it was near Tracy, I don't know where it went.
At this
She
point,
got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forget the date, July.
2025 Summer IDA Academy, anybody else wanna go?
July 29th.
July 20.
Where's that?
Main Street, and Casey, Britt, Megan, you guys are all looking to go, right?
Mm.
So $125 a piece.
I probably got a root canal coming up that day, or something.
I'm open that day, actually.
Okay, so I would just look, we don't even need a motion, we're not gonna spend $1,000 on that. So, yeah, we'll cover the cost, any board member and.
Sure.
And the three of you. That means.
Okay.
Yeah, if you wanna go there.
Eric, do you wanna go?
Yeah, put me in there tentatively.
Okay.
I can make that happen.
I can email out the details.
29th,
29.
the Friday.
Just what you want to do, spend a Friday and then
You can get some food,
What time
get
is it?
some food, listen to her.
we can all hang out.
Go to the boatyard.
Yeah.
That's on the way out of town. too, so it's perfect.
Late.
I'm only 20 minutes from the lake too, so I'm almost home, so that's all good. Yeah, I can call that work, it'll be great, man. That's stuff.
29th is not a Friday. You said
Yeah,
July.
it's during the day,
July 29th.
It's not a
It's
Friday.
not Friday, it's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
8 to 5 or
We
something.
can still go to,
I don't remember the exact time.
we can still go to lake.
Looking at it going, why does he think that's a Friday? He thinks every day's a Friday. I'm like,
No,
it's the summer, it must be a Friday.
That's when I get busy.
We'll get an update from everybody how great it was next week.
Okay,
Last item I added on here, I went rogue on you, Casey, just I wanna affirm the email vote we just had. To keep the land acquisition CD with Chemung Canal for another 6 months. They offered us the most competitive rate, 4.25 for the next 6 months. That's our motion to approve.
So move. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Old business, we got a legal garden with steward subsidies, nothing new to report there, we just gotta.
Figure that out.
Well, it's more or less figured out, they're not gonna concede anything at this point, so I think the idea is to not allow anything more than they should be getting there, so we just gotta clean up paperwork, we'll keep working on that. Tractor supply. Joe fell off on us.
Yeah, I don't know, I tried.
Joe was never here.
I sent it to him again, in case he couldn't get back in. He says he's unable to enter the meeting.
Well, that's all right, tractor supply, I really don't think there's anything
No.
new, on that.
They're moving right along though.
Yeah, they're not worried about water right now.
No.
They're not concerned. Turn it up.
Fast New York, anything new to report on that, Casey?
No, so, gonna.
In process. Committees. Audit, no. Governance, so Britt and I had a meeting with Barb Case last week. She seems pretty darn interested. She's gonna submit a resume. That will cover us for the Spencer area, which I don't think we really had coverage for a while. Quite some time.
No, that's right. And I got somebody, who said yes for when I go,
Okay. Okay.
a legislator.
Finance, nothing new, loan committee, again, the only thing there that's new, we already talked about, stuff that we, all talked about. Railroad, nothing new, but numbers are good. Non-public relations. Sales tax exemption, nothing I assume
One,
new from, go
One
ahead.
thing, I don't know if it's executive or whether it's railroad related that just came up this morning was I was driving north. Tell me how you want to handle it. They're building, the stick building where the double wide used to be that was parked on our railroad property. What's the name of that restaurant up there?
Oliveries.
Oliver,
Oh, right.
there's three places right in a row. One of them used to be a yellow double wide. It was tucked way back in. It was determined that it was like way in on the right of way.
That's right.
So I sent those to you. I sent your phone.
They're actually building a stick-built home.
It's a stick-built garage, but
On our property.
I believe it is. I didn't feel like I was comfortable enough to go walking through, but this is going up where the double wide has been missing for 6 months or so now.
Do you have any zoning up there?
This is,
Well, this is across our property line, so the double wide got moved and now they're building a garage, so I just would like to make sure that they're not building the garage without at least saying, hey, I'm gonna build this on your property.
evidently nobody knows about it except you, so if they're building it without anybody's knowledge, that's for sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I was hoping.
Me neither, it's a predates my time.
What town is that in?
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to remember. It's either town of Weagle or town of North Valley.
North Valley, right?
It's this side of Gaskill.
Is it?
That's why I'm not
It's,
sure where the
it's
town.
gotta be the town where we go because my election district runs up to where Jim Mead's house is.
Okay, he's almost to Blodgett.
And I don't
Yeah,
know where this is.
side of Blodgett by a long ways.
But it's on the west side of 38 though. Does that matter? Is that college? I don't know where the
If you're
divide.
going north, it's on the left,
Right.
just where you
Yeah,
get
it's on
gas.
the left, it's on the left.
Is that
Are you
the-
talking about that White House, Kevin?
What's that?
The White House?
White House.
Mhm. Is that like big white house they just built there, like right before you get to Gaskill? That's right by my house.
What was that years ago?
Hmm,
And we said, okay, well,
I'm thinking.
but there could be new.
Hold on, there's smoke coming out.
do you need me to pull up GIS or anything?
I'm gonna bring it up here in just a second.
Just processes a little slow.
We had, we had granted them, I guess, permission to leave their
Grace.
double wide there. Joe might even wrote something up on this, but
We need to check that out.
yeah, it just kind of irks me that
You can't assume.
maybe they budget ahead, but I don't think so.
When did this come up? This must have come up.
I
Years
drove
ago.
up through this morning, I saw sticks in the air, so I said, hey, somebody's building.
But obviously this was an issue at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
yeah, it was a while ago.
Private house, wherever it is, it's private house, I think.
We will examine the situation.
Yes, you don't know.
Yeah, we just gotta figure out where it is.
You guys continue what you.
Yeah, pilot updates, nothing new out of Best Bev since Monday, I assume.
No,
The other two are good through May, I believe. no real activity. They said they get back to us in July,
Mhm.
those two things.
Yeah, cause I think their spending is more at the end. of the month.
Sunny's sounds like they now wanna close out in August, so nothing to report now, but might at next month's meeting, but Joe's already got things drafted, there's really nothing to report. He. Good morning. I think we kicked that one around enough to start today.
That's Alan, right?
Yeah, the double wide's no longer there, and there's a fence up here, and that new garage is going back where that double wide sits,
What
right?
does it say what the address is?
4147. Mirror 38, right?
Megan, did you hear that?
This is a little more recent picture, the double wide missing. So if they're building on that slab, then they're building right back in the same place.
Can you let me share, Casey?
Yeah, how do I do that? If you try to share. maybe-
Great. Wait, can I share?
I don't know.
So I believe that this building,
Oh, wait,
that was Oliveris.
Right.
I have to send the request.
Oh, allowed, okay.
They had to get a permit.
You would think, but well, if it was the town of Tioga, you start building and wait for somebody to show up.
Town board, pretty similar.
Never tried that.
I really? They'll show up. They'll be like, hey, you can't do that. Why not?
Chris Ross.
What's the problem? Eric, what do you do? You can't do that.
It's a deck.
But I already did.
It's outside. What's the problem?
Okay, Megan brought it up for you guys.
Yeah,
You
so
go, Megan.
on the left where the two cars are parked,
Mhm.
in front of that used to be a double wide there. That's long since been gone. That, maybe that's a slab. I can't tell from here, but
It's like a slab out there.
so you got the couple of houses, whatever, and then that double wide. Well, they're building a garage, I believe, right on that same slab,
That does get.
which seems to, you know, maybe they shortened it up, maybe they got off the right of way, I don't know, but it seems like, you know,
Everybody's on it.
if we're gonna scrape off the right of way, we might as well pull it back up onto
Yeah,
the
'cause-
property.
The pool is where it's there. Yeah.
Now the next house up is on it.
Got a place to swim.
Yeah, so this is dissecting
This
this.
was a little easier to move the house. Though.
Yeah.
This right here is dissecting
Yeah, right
that
down the middle.
corner to corner on that double wide. And if they're building back on that same slab, I think it's a little bit, I just, it doesn't set well with me.
Yeah. I agree.
But not much does these days, so.
Can you see who the owners are? Are you able to-
Yeah, you would, yeah, if you just click on, it's the next one down, I think.
Can you tell if
Next
it's changed?
It's the next one down, I think is.
Oh, it's not me, it's
West.
Megan.
Oh, Megan.
Megan's doing it.
Megan, it's 85.00-1-35.
You can see that?
Yeah, I can't read that paper, but I can see that.
Wow.
Go deer hunt with you.
Mr.
There you go, Jester, Harley Jester.
Harley and Stormy.
Address. That one's 4133.
4133,
Yeah, well, we're getting the address from yeah.
Oh, okay.
not a perfect system. Yeah, but it would have been.
And that's part of that same property that was cause that building that's in the front there was the restaurant.
Right.
That was Oliveris back in the day. Long, long time. ago.
Easy enough to make a quick call to, where we have, that town of Wego.
We still.
School.
North Valley.
There's a Wego right there.
That's probably.
It's
Yeah,
probably
it's that town of
Oh,
Wego,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's town of Owego.
Sound like that.
Might as well get it before they put the roof on.
Bill Carrick. Could be all over that. Oh, they'll smell that from a mile away.
Sometimes you went.
Alright. Nothing on project updates, grant updates, engineering study, we're kind of waiting, we're just waiting because we can't do our geotech or we driving. We filed with the state to get 90% of our money back. Logic Road. Logic Road's done, I believe.
I think so. I think Mr. Benton went out there and took care of that.
Mm-hmm. So. I don't know what the process is for that one. Do you know, Casey, in regards to collecting, because that's one that we'll have to. I don't know,
I have no idea,
we'll be moving to the next stages of whatever we have to do for that. I know Wendy's department's predominantly helping us with that. Nothing new on USDA, either, nothing new on equipment lease, right, other than you guys have just been trying to be ready.
we had someone who was interested, but then the state said no.
All
Cause
right.
they had already purchased the equipment this month or whatever, so
Well, that's-
that stinks.
that's true. Yeah, 'cause
So we're
it's-
trying.
Because they don't like it, only what, because we haven't been formally funded, right?
Yeah, well, we haven't, no, because we didn't approve their purchase, and they said
In any of this,
that the idea
you
was.
can't put the cart before the horse. You go and you get approved and then you go and get your equipment. That's,
And you guys start considering those for approval?
Well, they didn't they said no, I asked if we could, because the company already purchased the equipment, and then I was like, oh, I'll ask the state, and then they said no.
But had they not done that, they could have potentially applied at this point?
They could apply for new equipment,
Right.
but not for the equipment they already have.
That program's active, we,
Oh, yes, they can apply, sorry, I misunderstood you that.
If you already got it, you don't need.
Yeah, we're likely gonna get an extension for that. The equipment lease program, we're gonna get an extension from the USDA.
okay. When is it supposed to expire?
I think August,
Oh, okay, yeah, so definitely.
Oh, it's September.
September. Oh,
That's when they want all the money spoken for, right? So,
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we do have one item to discuss in executive session, update long.
Before you do that,
State, yeah.
I want you to know that I stopped up in North Valley and looked at the yurts.
Ah,
The yurts are there.
good. Good, were they busy?
No,
Were they
I
occupied?
was there right after Memorial Day, and he said they were full
Really?
for the Memorial Day.
That's good.
weekend. Good. So, yeah.
I don't know what their rates are now, but I mean, they weren't.
It was kind of weird because it's like this little, looks like you're driving on somebody's lawn to go out there. And I
Yeah, you
started-
are basically, and then
I
you gotta.
started
move the
driving out
tracks
there
in.
and then I went over the railroad tracks and this guy came out like behind me. Like, what do you guys do?
Okay, good.
So, yeah,
People come up there, they're fishing in the creek, whatever, doing whatever they're doing.
whatever they want to do, I guess. There's yurts.
Hey, North Valley, who knew?
motion to move in executive session.
So moved. Second, third.
Thanks, Matt.
See you later. Thanks, Matt.
I think we should.
You're on the air.
I don't know if they did.
You should. Got 5 minutes and.
This won't go.
4 minutes.
This won't take long. You didn't, there's no agenda, did you do an agenda for?
No, do you want me to?
No, I mean, if you just don't mind talking about it. 'cause
Yeah, I
it's-
didn't
you-
mind.
You know way more about it than I do.
So we have a potential project, we were looking at applying for the OPR HP EPF grant.
Got that, you got that?
Office of Preservation, Recreation, and I forget what the H stands, for. Historic Preservation, and then, so we were looking at a potential project, we did a tour on the railroad the other day with RJ Corman, which was pretty cool. But they don't use, a majority of the railroad from Flemingville to Hartford. So the railroad goes, all the way, when we went on the tour, it goes all the way up to, it used to go all the way up to like, Dryden, which is pretty interesting, and there's a 10-mile trail up there. So we were looking at potentially doing a rails with trail project. So this program, because we have a high poverty rate in Newark Valley and Berkshire, we could qualify for 75% of the loan the grant being covered, and we'd only have to match 25%. And the match also, we could find other funding. Britt is kind of working on that part of it too. So what we're thinking, what I kind of came up with was starting from Newark Valley Fire Station, having the trail go, we're gonna do it in 4 phases. So it would go from Newark Valley Fire Station to Newark Valley High School, so there it would connect, to the high school, and then we'd make like a crossing, of course, because the high school's on the, east side. But it'd be on the west side of the rail line is what we were thinking. We don't know if that necessarily might have to be on the east side kind of thing. But then it would also connect, from Newark Valley High School to Stoughton Farms. That would be our next segment we would look at. And along this way, it would connect like the middle school and the elementary school too in Newark Valley. And the depot through Newark Valley. And then the second section would be from Stoughton Farms to George Smith Park and Berkshire Creekside Park. And Creekside Park is directly on the rail line.
Right on the line, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be pretty easy, and they already just updated the trails and George Smith Park, they actually just got approved for a loan for the, not the loan, a grant, sorry, I keep saying loan, for a master park plan. So they're gonna be doing that project. Tracy, you look overwhelmed. And then the final piece of it would be, adding, like, connecting the trail from the main trail to Trout Ponds in Newark Valley, so it would be connecting 3 parks. Potentially, that's kind of our idea. So for this, it wouldn't be us, saying, agreeing that we are gonna do the project. It would just be to do, preliminary engineering and design. It would not be a feasibility study. We have reached out to a couple engineering firms that were willing to give us kind of an idea of how much it would cost. So the one rough number we have right now, we don't have actual quotes yet. They're not giving them to us until like the 11th. So it'd be around minimally $175,000 to $300,000 for preliminary design.
We're talking a walking.
Yep, a walking trail that could be
Like they
for
have in Vestal.
biking, cycling, kind of like what they have in Vestal, but we would keep our rail line.
Yeah, the challenge and what hasn't been, RJ Corman doesn't even, they
Yeah,
don't even know
so-
that we're even.
No, Brett was gonna talk to them and see if they're okay with it. Additionally, because they said they were okay with the rail bikes originally, what we were gonna do, and that's part of the railroad that they don't use as well. It'd be the same area. So we were hoping that, if they say yes, then of course we would go through with it, but we wanted to present it to you guys too.
The rail bikes concept could go in tandem with this then.
It could, yep, just the rail bikes is a little more, like, it's expensive, but also, well, this is also very expensive, but the rail bikes, you'd have to buy it, and someone would have to take on that project
Right.
and make sure, because, people are booking, and we'd have to figure out who would be in charge of
Can
running
you
that.
farm
The
that,
guys that have the years.
couldn't you
Yeah.
farm that piece
Yeah.
out?
That's what we were thinking,
That's
there's
not
like so
bad.
many things that we were thinking about, and not to overwhelm you with more information, but this is my little, like, if this could happen. That Dryden Trail I was talking about is 10 miles. We own all the way up into Cortland County and Hartford Mills. Then there's this 4-mile spot that Cornell owns,
Right.
that the tracks have been ripped up. And if we could connect it all, when we talked to an engineering firm, they said that we could be part of the Empire State Trail. So you can get even more funding for maintenance, for, developing that part of the trail.
Sure.
I just thought it'd be cool. And then theoretically, another theoretical, there's one more little tiny.
Share
Yeah. Well, there's another local little tiny trail in Ithaca, so you could connect to Dryden to Ithaca. I think it's 4 miles.
Those trails are a big deal, man. They got a ton of
34
years.
miles long, and then we could be part of the Empire State Trail, part
Right,
of
comes
Finger
right
Lakes
outside the
Trail.
county and dies.
I'm just a
Goes
fan
from
for
Goes
tourism.
from Vestal and dies.
Yeah.
It's Tioga County to die.
Yeah, because we wanted a trail, the trail that connected to the Vessel one. Is
Oh,
that
we're
what
gonna
you're
connect.
Maybe you
Waverly's
could,
gonna-
maybe you could connect it to the skateboard park down here too.
talking about?
I don't have. to-
When is the application window?
July 31st, it's due.
It's due July 31st?
So are you asking,
It's all
if-
made out, you're just looking to push the button.
I'm looking for you guys to say, yes, you can apply for this grant, and we understand that we would have to match 25%. And then if we don't want to do the project in the end, you could be like, no, we're not accepting the grant funds.
I'm okay with applying for a grant. At the-
Yeah, it's
So you-
just one of those things that's kind of right smack in our wheelhouse.
And I know it's a little different than what we normally do,
It's okay.
but it'd be a really cool
Difference not
project.
bad.
So who's gonna approach, because I assume we're gonna get hold of Corman before we,
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be Britt.
Britt said she's already on it.
Yeah, that's why we did the tour too, just to see. A lot of the rail line isn't in the craziest, best condition
No, I'm sure.
when it's more north. But
And
they
nobody
said
going up
how
to it?
much they don't use it, how they just drive up for maintenance, just to kill the, all the trees that kind of grow up there, and then they said the last time they used it was recently, but it was just a one-time thing, because that oil company that's in Portland County, they no longer use the, Yep, so that's all they would be, and also what's cool is that they only use it for freight, it's only 10 miles per hour. So it kind of hits all of the checkpoints you would want for a rail trail, and because we're connecting schools and the Amish we have a really big Amish population in Berkshire.
Checking all the boxes.
Yeah, we are, so I think we could,
She's got the Amish involved.
I think that we could qualify
Look
for
at her.
more
She's like
funding.
praying
Really,
for us.
other-
Dreamers.
Come on,
I like dreamers. I like dreamers. Let's go.
I would run on this trip, because
Now
there's
you're
not a
building
lot
your
of
own
safe-
personal
yeah,
track.
there's not a lot of safe places to run, and then, cause I like to bike, and I like biking from, Binghamton to Ithaca, but 38 is just not safe, and it's scary, and the shoulder isn't wide enough, and then we have all of
Can't
the metal.
underestimate how
It'd be
how
cool.
much people
I think you
use
sold
those.
Walk.
Did you mention this to TC when he was talking to you?
No, I wanted to, I thought about it, but I told Britt. I wasn't gonna say anything.
motives, I showing him around.
No, we were looking at
Look in his
we were
pocket.
looking at it for the, rail bikes,
Two women hand him out, like right where they want them. That's it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, whatever you want.
Who,
I think.
who
Yeah.
did this? Who you chatting with at our dick for?
Okay.
yeah, so we were chatting, but yeah, we were in a chat with RJ Foreman. I think we're kind of
Logan. Gotta go.
Talking to somebody at Morgan, who's it gonna take?
Did you have a
TC.
connection to?
yeah, probably.
He's that big guy, right?
Mhm.
That's been here a few times. So you need us then to, when we come out, to make a motion to approve you guys to apply.
Yep. And the reason.
And if we change our mind,
We don't need a.
Um,
In case he wants it.
No,
I had it set in on a couple of meetings.
Still working hard, throw a bone there, you're really, build the trip.
I know.
You
it's
build
so
it, they will
exciting. Can you
come.
imagine if it actually happened? But this is just preliminary, so,
So let's get a unanimous vote.
yeah.
who's got the 6 mile long acronym that makes
I
sense,
can-
so.
Tell you, let me resume recording.
Tioga County Rail Trail,
Why is it doing so?
northern.
Northern Tioga County Rail Trail.
And the Amish are gonna be on with the buggies.
That's pretty tough.
Okay.
Big horse shit everywhere.
Oh, my. Bag.
So it's the, do you want me to give you the full acronym?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can make it up
Shoot it.
afterwards.
I
Gotta go.
Yes. Come on, come here.
One second. It's the OPRHP EPF grant.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
We must have came out of executive session.
People.
Yeah, right. So who's making the motion to?
I moved us to come out of executive session.
Want us to adjourn?
Yeah, he did.
Thank you, Brenda. Tracy's adjourning. Eric made the motion to come out of executive
And it was a unanimous vote.
in all cases.